o'clock. I'll call the meeting, the Board of Finance meeting. Regular scheduled meeting for January 16th to order at 7 o'clock. PM, and let the record show that there's 4 of us here. Nikki, Steve, Brian, Rob on site. Dave did let me know that he would not be able to attend. And I've not heard from Nathan. And I'll just, at my opener, I'll stressed, please let me know. What I don't want to do is get here and not have a quorum if people have life issues that are going on. It's easy to get a hold of me. Email, text me, call me. There's a million ways. I'd like to know going in. So that's called to order and roll call. Item 2. Yes.
Just, I don't know if it has to be in the minutes, but.
No.
He is
Jackson.
Jackson's sitting there.
I'm not gonna call you Jason twice. I already made that mistake. Jackson, welcome. I'm sorry I overlooked you. Jackson's here. He's the liaison of the school. We're happy to have you. Sorry about that, Jackson.
I'm blocking you, I'm sorry.
Item number 2, approval of the minutes, December 19th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Steve made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Nikki second. Before I ask if there's any changes or modifications to the minutes, I do want to just state that Dave had one and he sent it to me. Dottie has it, but just for the rest of the team. In item 5 on Selectmen's update, at the bottom where it says D. Johnson confirmed that the purchasing ordinance amount, which may be acted upon without the town meeting, is 25,000. He sent a note in, he'd asked that to be changed, that he actually wasn't confirming, he was actually asking what it's changed to. So he didn't know that or confirm it, he was just wanting to know what it was. Any other comments, changes, modifications to the minutes? No, hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes with the one modification from D. Johnson, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, so we have 4-0, minutes are approved. Item number 3, correspondence. Nothing new since the minutes, everyone should have gotten the tax collector, Mr. Antonsen's report. And also, Mr. Steglitz, finance, month-to-date report for the period of December, that's correct, we're in January, but it would have been through December 31st. Any other correspondence?
Yeah, Rob, Melinda's stuff that she sent, is that under superintendent or is that correspondence? The letters that she sent?
That was last time, wasn't it?
I think we,
Was it?
yeah, I think we.
I'm trying to work out with Dottie. I'm having trouble getting some stuff,
Okay,
so this came up to me.
okay, so just to,
Dottie's finally got it straightened out.
okay, that's perfect.
All
And
right.
just to retouch on it quickly, there was a letter that came
Okay.
through, we addressed in the October in the November meeting. But then there was another one that came in the day of the November meeting, we discussed that, there was no
Yeah.
action to be taken, we discussed it, I
no.
should thank the Board of Ed and Melinda in the December meeting. So I think those are closed, Brian?
This one's January 6th.
Yeah, that's
And
the,
you sent to each of the representatives.
I did.
it's the state rep letters.
Yeah, I
Okay.
pay attention, yes.
I have those as well.
I
Okay.
just wanted,
That's when they went out
Mhm.
to the representative.
It's just letters that went out to the state
did
representative
you
from,
discuss it in December?
no,
No.
No, I didn't think.
no,
Dave
I don't think there's any,
That's
I don't think there's any
It's in your
discussion on
report?
them.
verbal.
Okay, that's all I was wondering.
I personally either didn't get that or I totally missed it. 'Cause I have no record.
It's
Yes.
not directed to the Board of Finance. I think we were CC'd on the letters to represent that that Melinda had sent them. She CC'd the Board of Ed, she CC'd the Board of Finance and somebody else on them.
But I mean, if
Open
it showed up in our box.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was gonna kind of ask the
Okay.
same question later.
Thank you, Brian. I
No.
would have brought that up. I didn't see it.
Yeah,
So-
no, not a problem.
Okay, so we have a letter from Superintendent of Schools and Melinda will touch on that during her report. Any other correspondence? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to item 4, citizen comments. We'll start in the room first. If there's a citizen, sorry.
Beat you.
The young lady on the end had her hand up first, please. I could probably state it for you, but please state your name and address.
Sure. that out there in public.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Jessica Bolte, 1081 Riverside Drive. There is no shame in my fundraising game. The eighth grade committee is hosting a celebrity bartender event on January 25th from 6 to 9:30 at Cindy's in Dudley. There will be raffles. We would love to see you. We had an amazing turnout from our staff and administrators at the middle school, as well as some staff from the elementary and high school. So you know how well we did for how well we throw a party for the playground. We would love to see you to responsibly celebrate for grade 8.
What's the date again, please?
January 25th.
1:25, 6 to 9 PM.
Yep.
Thank you.
And not done yet. We're also selling raffle tickets for 2 tickets to the Celtics game in April. Those are $10 a piece if you would like one. See me from now until about beginning of February.
Okay,
Okay, now I'm done.
thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that.
Okay, Kathleen
Yes.
Herbert, Wilsonville Road. This isn't really a citizen's comment, this is a question about our meeting, the joint meeting next Tuesday on, 121. It's the Board of Ed and the Board of Finance. The Board of Ed has posted the agenda, but since it's a joint meeting, shouldn't the Board of Finance also share that agenda on their website?
Mhm, We should,
Yeah,
and that's being worked on. I chatted with Dottie today.
okay,
I got the agenda yesterday from Bill. Thank you. It looked
okay.
fine to me.
Yeah, I just want to
And-
make sure that.
No, I appreciate you bringing that up. I think it'll be posted in the near term.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else in the room? Citizen comments. Okay, we'll move online. Are there any citizens online that would like to make a comment at this time? Okay. Thank you both. We'll move on to item 5 with Selectmen's update. Amy, the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and happy new year. I know it's been a couple of weeks since the new year started, but this is the new year for Board of Finance. So not a heck of a lot going on in the town of Thompson right now. The departments are diligently working to put their budgets together. So that's kind of been everybody's focus. So, I thought I would just kind of give an update to grant activity within the town. If you recall, we did receive a local bridge program grant for the Buckley Hill Road bridges. The engineers are fast at work trying to put together bid documents to begin to search for a qualified candidate to make the repairs to that bridge. But the Board of Finance should keep in the back of their mind that it's going to be approximately $4 million for both bridges. And under the local bridge program, the town has to pick up 50% of that. So that will be something we're going to have to address probably within the coming year. Additionally, I had received word, and I think I shared this with the board a few months ago, that the DOT had reached out to me about 2 other bridges in town, and if I'm remembering correctly, it's in my office, and I didn't prepare a report, so I apologize, kind of going off the cuff with this one. Baker Road Bridge and then the Brandy Hill Road Bridge, both bridges are rated in fair to poor condition. And the DOT was doing what's called a design build program, where they do all the work, the state does all the work, submit the bids to the federal government, and it's fully funded. So I'm still hoping that stays on target. I met today with Senator Murphy's liaison, Aaron McBride, and I did mention those 2 bridges and the program itself, and that this town was in desperate need of assistance with bridges because we have so many failing bridges. And again, I'm just hoping that that program stays active and alive on the federal level because it is fully funded federally. I also met with Senator Flexer yesterday, to which I also put a side note in about bridges. That's one of the big issues in the town of Thompson, but I also talked to her about police presence and that the towns could really use some assistance with the trooper program. And that most towns honestly really can't do it with just one resident trooper. We really should have multiple resident troopers, but it's so cost prohibitive that a small town like Thompson, it gets rejected. So I put a bug in her ear about that, as well as fire and EMS assistance, because it's just, those are just two areas where we just can't accommodate the cost as a small town. And as we know, our fire departments are suffering because apparatus is so expensive. So they're barely staying above water. So those are a couple of things that I mentioned to the senator yesterday. And yeah, I think we should just keep hammering those items home and with our representatives and our senators. And hopefully we can keep the funding coming to our small town. If you also recall, the SIF grant, the Community Investment Fund grant, was awarded back in November. I think it was over $4 million. It's for the reconstruction of Main Street and sidewalks on Main Street. We are also looking at a second grant, and this would be for some disconnection of outfalls. As Thompson falls under it's an MS4 town, which means every year we have to do some projects that divert runoff into the river that runs right through the center of town here. So we are working on a grant to hopefully utilize what's that park?
Riverside Park?
No, it's not Riverside Park. Duhamel Pond, the Duhamel Pond area, to create a detention pond to divert water from the Swede Village to that area. So that would be a large section of disconnection. And we're working to get a grant that will coincide with the SIF grant and help us achieve the work that we're supposed to do every year. So yeah, that's what we have going on with grant work right now.
Question, Amy, are the two Buckley Hill bridges in the same condition, or can those be spread out over multiple years?
Well, they're in the
Look
same.
at $2 million for a town, our whole town budget's 10 million. Our capital this year is 888,000. To put $2 million in bridges is a massive strain on the town.
I can speak with the engineer, but we are on a time limit as far as using the funds. We've already asked for an extension. I can certainly speak to the engineers, but to me, it makes sense that when you have equipment out there doing work on one bridge, to do the second one, but.
That always makes sense. It's about affordability. You either need to raise it through taxes or stop doing other things. It's just a massive number.
I know.
That's all I don't have a solution,
I assume
but it's a
we
big number.
probably go out for a bond to cover the cost.
We could do that too, but then we gotta service the debt.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
But I hear you. Okay. I think it'd be nice if we
But
could stagger.
I'll keep you updated, and I will ask WMC engineers. They're the ones handling the design work, et cetera.
I would. I mean, we gotta be practical. If if 4 million is gonna turn into 5 because you split it, then maybe you don't split it, but. Any other questions for Amy?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I will move on to item 6, school district update with superintendent of school building.
Well, hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Let's start with the letters first. This budget cycle, I wanted to make sure that our legislators were well aware of some of the issues that are going on in Thompson Public Schools. So I did write to our representatives primarily because this is a year that our alliance funding needs to be refunded. And May Flexer and Senator Gordon have been very instrumental in pushing that money forward every 2 years. It's $200,000 to the school department. It has over two positions on that grant that are critical to the district. And so we want to make sure that no one forgets about us and puts that bill forward. In the state budget, it's actually a separate line just for Thompson Public Schools. So we want to make sure that that's refunded. We can't work without that money. Secondly, we have issues surrounding special education, and I'll segue to that in a minute, but we need help with reimbursement on special education costs. So much so that my professional organization and the Superintendent's Association created a subcommittee, which I served on, to draft a letter, which is attached to that letter, that went out to the legislators across the state. Just highlighting the fact that out of the 36 alliance districts, 52% of all special education students are in those districts, and our district happens to be one of them, and we're the 60th highest percentage of special education students in a district statewide. So 25% of our students are either on an IEP or a 504 plan. And so with that number, means that there's a budgetary impact on that. And when I segue into what's happening in FY25, you'll understand. One of the reasons why, and then the third thing is the free meal program for our students. During COVID time, we got a lot of grant money. And so all of our students ate free breakfast and free lunch. Now we're trying to use our reimbursement rates to offer free breakfast. However, we're back to paid lunches for those students that don't qualify for free and reduced. And in Thompson, we have a good population of people that are in the middle, almost falling through the cracks, where they just missed the poverty level, but their families certainly can't afford $25 a week for just one child to eat breakfast. Well, almost $25 a week. So free meals would be a benefit to Thompson Public Schools. And so that's the other thing that I wanted to bring their attention to. I did attend a legislative breakfast this week in Brooklyn, sponsored by Kathleen and the Board of Ed Members Association, CAVE. Once again, the superintendents all expressed the issue around special education. If you've been following anything in the CT Post or Hartford Courant, it looks like that is going to be a hot topic agenda in this session. And so we're certainly, and I've certainly offered to testify, write letters, whatever they need me to do, so that I can make sure that they understand how it's impacting this community. So that's the letters. Getting into the FY25 budget, unfortunately, we're coming up about a $950,000 deficit in special education for a variety of reasons. We only are operating in the black around $90,000, Bill. And so my worry is that I'm going to go before the Board of Ed and seek permission to come to you next month for a supplemental allocation. I'm hoping not. We are under a hard freeze, so that means Bill and I look at every single request for spending. Barely anything is coming through because the teachers all know that we put a hard freeze on anything, and we did that months ago. But I'm very worried about us ending up in the red, and the reason we're going to end up in the red is associated with those costs to support our special education population. So I encourage you all, and even for the members that can't make it tonight, when Kathleen had mentioned the joint meeting, Dr. Jones is going to be there that night. And as a matter of fact, he's going to start at the top of the agenda and explain the costs that are driving these overages in special education. He's got a comprehensive presentation that he's going to put together, and he will be available to answer any of your questions. So besides special ed, of course, every director and principal will be there as well. But because we all know special education costs are a big driver in our budget and a big impact on our town, I really encourage you to come so that you can ask any clarifying questions to Dr. Jones. Moving into enrollment, yes.
The date on that?
It is the 21st at 6 o'clock.
Oh, our meeting, yes.
Yes,
I thought it
the
was
joint
I thought it was a different, I got it.
Yeah. So moving into enrollment, we currently have 797 students. At Mary R. Fisher, we have 355 students, which is no change over last month. At the middle school, we have 262 students, which is one student that moved out of state. At the high school, we have 179 students. That's a reduction of 2. One child moved to Texas, and another child who had been chronically absent moved to homeschooling. So 797 is the number that we have right now. tomorrow, our welding manufacturing career fair in collaboration with Electric Boat will take place from 9 to 11. We have invited area schools to participate. Electric Boat is going to be here with many of the organizations that support our manufacturing and welding program. We have 8 companies coming to talk to students about potential job opportunities in their companies. We're really excited about that. If you have time, stop by. From 9 to 11, it's more or less open. The students will be in the auditorium at 9 o'clock because EB is doing a presentation, but some of our students are actually going to set up their employment accounts at Electric Boat, while others are going to be conversing with those organizations that are going to be there tomorrow. So we appreciate the partnership with everyone. And we're looking forward to a fun day tomorrow. There's going to be a 45-foot inflatable submarine. And so the kids should get a kick out of that. I do want to say that our HVAC project has had its initial kickoff meeting this week with the firm AirTemp, who was awarded the contract. Everyone was there around the table, including the architect, Bill Birch, and myself. This work is due to begin in February. It is going to happen within the school day and possibly a second shift. During the school day will require classrooms to be relocated. So the principals have identified swing space that we can move classrooms to. It's going to be disruptive district-wide. They're going to be pulling wires all through the campus. There's a bullet list of items that are going to be addressed with this project. You know, just so everyone knows that when we had the assessment done on the campus, we more or less broke it into 3 phases. And the first phase is what's funded under this project. And even that, not everything in our first phase was able to be funded. So there had to be hard decisions made as to what was going to be a priority. And Bill Birch and the building committee did that. We're pretty excited to get the work going, but it is going to be a bit of a disruption. We've let parents know. I just want to make sure I know ahead of time so that I can give teachers some lead time in case they have to move classrooms. I don't want somebody appearing at a classroom door and saying, okay, I'm here now, because that will not work. But we're very excited and very grateful to the town of Thompson, because it's really going to set a one control system. We're going to get new boilers in the middle school, which are desperately needed, in areas that have funky heat and no air exchange are going to be all repaired. A lot of the work up at the high school. So we're pretty excited about that and thank everyone for that. And then finally, just some really good news, and Jackson is a member of the boys basketball team. He's a varsity member and has a spectacular year this year, Jackson. But one of his peers, Josh Carlson, is having one heck of a week. He has scored 1,000 points. He is on track to beat his coach's record, and he holds the record for second place of all time scores, and we think that Josh might break that record. He also broke the school record this week for the number of points per game. The old record was at 51. He last week against Westbrook, he earned 53 points. And then finally, he was ECC Player of the Week, and he's in the running for CIAC Player of the Week. So if you go to my the school department's Facebook page and vote for him, I don't know if it's still open, but we hope that Josh gets that 4th accolade. So he's had quite the week. And overall, both the girls and boys are playing their hearts out in basketball. So we're really proud of them. And I think that's it.
Okay, that's great. Any questions from Melinda?
If I might,
Go right ahead.
we're in Alliance District, which gives us some funding. When does that get reviewed? Doesn't last forever, I assume it's reviewed and you get that
Yeah.
categorization somehow, but does it end at some point or might it end?
It could end. So we were designated, my first fall that I was hired, so that was in 2017, we were designated an Alliance District. We never saw any money that year. And it was the following year that we started to get funding. And then the year after that, we were told we weren't getting any funding and we didn't. And then every year after that, Senator Flexer and I have had long conversations, and she has, along with Senator Gordon, when he came into the Senate, have been pushing for us to get alliance money. It's a 5-year designation and we're coming up to the end of that. However, during that time frame, we were also labeled an opportunity district.
Right.
And once you get that tag, then there's another 5 years. That means we're one of 10 lowest performing school districts in the state. However, when I talked to the people that monitor us at the state, they said if they ran the numbers now, we would never be an opportunity district, but we're stuck with the designation for 5 years. We're making gains, and we know that we're gonna crawl out of that really horrible designation, but Killingly, Plainfield, Putnam, and Thompson, we're all alliance districts, has a lot to do with the population in the region. And so I don't see any of us ever losing that designation. Of course, we're gonna work toward it, but it's almost a double-edged sword. If you're not an alliance district, then you lose the funding that gives you the programs that move the scores. So it's just this crazy cycle, but right now I'm very optimistic. The state is monitoring us very heavily, obviously, because we're in that bucket of 10, but they see us making really good growth. So I have good outlook on us not having that designation, but every 5 years they run the numbers.
If it started in 2017, and maybe COVID pandemic has adjusted.
So there was no, there was a year they didn't test. So all those, that year got thrown out, and I don't know what they did with the subsequent year, but I heard the regional superintendents invited a lot of legislators to a meeting last week, and there was quite a group of them, and many of them talked about there's too many alliance districts and we need to reduce the alliance districts and we need to redistribute the funding. So I'm a little jumpy about that, because does that mean that those school districts that are making gains like we are, like the little engine that could, we keep chugging along,
Yeah.
Are they gonna take away those very supports that are making us move in the right direction? So I'm very worried about it.
So, sorry to go back to this, but so have we been re-examined for the
No,
Alliance
not yet.
District, or is it scheduled, or?
I think it's coming up.
Okay.
And not yet. I'm assuming after this round of testing in the spring, I believe then they'll run the numbers again. It was around November, the first year I was here, where
Okay.
they actually finished all their calculations, and then we got that letter. But Opportunity District, I am looking forward to shedding that label.
I don't, if I recall, the Opportunity District didn't come with any funding, with that,
No
it was just the
funding.
designation, so.
It came with more state technical support. It
Okay.
came with more state oversight,
Okay,
and it came with more state paperwork.
okay.
I know that when you had said that you had the hard freeze on the budget, that a lot of the stuff isn't coming through from the teachers. Do you know what you would say isn't coming through? Like, what are some of the things that aren't being asked for? And is it for other programs? Is it for, non-special ed students and activities that you would normally see happening that aren't? Like, what is it that right now the funding isn't there for?
Well, our teachers have been smart enough over the 8 years that I've been there. They know around October we start to freeze the budget. So if there's something they really needed, they were sure to order it. So I'm not so worried about that. But we're gonna think twice about extra field trips. We're gonna think twice, which we don't really fund for the BOE budget. If they have money in their budget and they want to purchase something that wasn't in the original budget, we're gonna probably say no. So it's one of those things. So if they have money remaining, and then there are many departments that have to have open POs. For example, music department, she needs open POs for instrument repairs, the purchase of music, transportation to her competitions. We're not freezing that because we don't want those programs to shut down. Any new programs that have been added, like the after-school enrichment at the middle school, that's been all grant funded, so that's not gonna be impacted by the freeze. The teachers know that, and the principals know that if they had money when I put that hard freeze in any of their lines, I'm not letting them transfer those funds for something else, and that's really where the freeze is. We can't freeze special ed. And that's the one thing, we cannot freeze, so,
And that's, excuse me, that's roughly $1 million
yeah,
over budget.
yes.
Any other questions from Melinda?
You wanna say something, Bill?
The 900 and change is before special ed excess cost reimbursement. That's
Okay.
right.
Yes.
The
I
class.
was actually gonna ask that, thank you.
So that
Last one's-
340 was Chris's last estimate, so that it,
So
That's what was reported last month.
Right.
It was about 600 net.
just so no one thinks that
Yeah.
that 600 moved to 9,
Yep.
it's still around the same.
And
Okay.
Bill and Eileen now, and I've asked any of the teachers and any of the secretaries in the school, that if there are open POs and they are, it is an unnecessary or a not needed expense, we're asking them to shut down those POs, which we never have done at this time of the year. But we're starting to do that exercise now.
Okay, anything else from Melinda?
Just to follow up on your point, how is this affecting the general population?
Well.
That's really kind of asking the question.
It's having a huge impact on the general population, because if a teacher needed textbooks or a teacher needed supplies for their class, they bought them already.
Okay,
And of course, we're never gonna say, we're not buying copy paper or we're not buying laminate. Those are consumables that are gonna go across the school year, whether there's a freeze or not. Because I don't want students to go home and say, we don't have any paper or we don't have any crayons, things like that.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. Item 7, finance report. Bill, over to you.
Sure, on the property tax front, 14 million collected, 62.5% of budget. You may have noticed if you read Scott's report, that's a little behind where we were in the prior year, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew the explanation why. It has to do with the timing of one of the large escrow payments that usually hit around December. Last year, that hit right at the end of December, and this year it hit right at the beginning of January. So you've got just literally like a 1-day timing difference that accounts for it being a little behind where we were last year. Just wanted to make sure you guys had caught that. I think Scott had it noted in his comments at the bottom of his report. State and federal grants this month, the first installment of the Pequot Indian grant and the disability grant came in. From a local revenue perspective, not a lot new there, except investment income continues to be strong. We're at 70% of the budget. If you guys remember, we had increased that to 190,000 for this year. The interest rate cuts that we were worried about at the time have come a little slower than I think the board expected, so that's kind of helped that comparison. So we'll take it there. Expenses committed are at 6.9 million, 70% of the budget, which is on track. A couple of additional updates. On the budget front, Amy's right. Everybody has been working very hard on the budgets at both the town and the school, but especially the town this week, because the due date for the directors to get the templates to finance is tomorrow. I am pleased to report, though, that here we are a day before the deadline, and 24 of the 49 templates that are due have already been submitted and have been input by finance into the budget template. We're definitely ahead of where we've been in the past. Now, I don't expect us to bat 1,000 on the remaining templates, because frankly, there are a handful of budgets within the town that are a hell of a lot more a heck of a lot more complicated than others. Some departments are, like finance actually, are extremely straightforward to budget. Others, public works is extremely difficult. So there's a little budget update for you. I don't think we've touched on borrowing in a couple of meetings, so it's a bit playing off of Melinda's comments on the HVAC project. I have been meeting with Phoenix, our financial advisors, in order to plan the upcoming refinance of the track and security project net debt, which will be net of the grant that we received for the track. So we will be refinancing just over $1 million versus the 1.4, and we're trying to time that to coincide with the HVAC borrowing so that we save on borrowing costs. We have a little bit of flexibility in the timing for the borrowing because of the lead times that have lead times for the equipment for the HVAC project. I've been attending all the building committee meetings and trying to keep an eye on that time frame so that I can minimize our interest costs. So that's where we stand there. Any questions?
Here.
I do have a general comment, but actually it's Amy and I think we have a town meeting coming up,
Yes, Wednesday,
but I think it's the same night as the spelling bee contest.
fortunately.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
How are we gonna manage that? Which are we gonna change?
I wanted to choose the spelling bee, but. I think
What I
it's gonna
would've
have to be
picked.
at the town meeting.
Spelling bee stresses me out, so.
Oh, we wanna switch places.
It's a great contest. I know we have conflict that night, but it's worth it.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
Next item 8, Turtle Lot Fund update.
I'll jump in with a quick update on the balances, down 63,000 in December to 2,758,970. And just a reminder to everyone, the annual meeting
Excuse me.
for the trust is scheduled for February. I'm sorry, February 3rd. I think that's right. Yeah,
I
February
didn't
3rd.
know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. When it was-
is that all set up?
That's why I wanted to mention that
It's supposed to be
tonight.
the first Monday, right?
Yeah, it's the first, it's on the calendar that that Renee sent out.
Yeah.
And I just noticed it today as I was looking at some other dates, so I
Yes,
figured I'd
but
mention
is
it.
it actually set up with,
Oh, I
no,
I-
I'm sure it isn't. So,
I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know.
well, I will reach out to Tom.
Okay, and according to the calendar, it's 6 o'clock in the community center.
I think it's gonna be a Zoom. I'll reach out to Tom.
Okay,
Cause he's gotta get whatever their name is.
It's budget workshop number 4 for us.
Okay, well, we can't have it that night. We're gonna have to change the bylaws.
yeah, we talked about that last
Yeah.
year, so.
Anything else on the Turtle Lot Trust?
I'll talk to Tom.
Thank you.
Anything else on the Turtle Lot Trust, Bill?
Nope, that's it, sorry.
Oh,
I brought
just
this
that-
up.
Just that the draperies and the curtains are in the process of being made. And they are supposed to be installed before the end of February, before we have the CNA pinning.
Oh,
I think I brought this up last month, Bill, but we need to look back at what we had. You know, we had $100,000 in the,
Right,
and that's not gonna cover the current projects. So we'll need to,
right. But we-
sometime between now and the end of the year, we're gonna need to we're gonna need to take action to,
Right,
to
and
fund
we,
that.
and we may also have some monies here that are essentially sort of left over from the window project. Now that
Yeah,
predates me, but
Okay.
so that may plug that
so
gap.
maybe after the February 3rd or February 8th or 7th, or whenever we meet at a subsequent Board of Finance meeting, when we have all the facts, we can kind of put that together. I think we should, because it's
Yep.
gonna be behind. Okay. Anything else on Turtle Lot Fund update? Turtle Lot Fund, yeah, any other comments on it? Okay. Item 9, new business. Is there any new business?
No.
No new business. Item 10 is old business. No old business. We'll move on to item 11, citizen comments, our second round. We'll start in the room here first.
Jessica Bolte, 1081 Riverside Drive. In regards to the special education costs, our Board of Ed Communications Subcommittee member Kristen Schultz had written up almost like a form letter. It's been posted to all the PTO Facebook pages, as well as to multiple town Facebook pages for people to essentially copy, paste, fill in, along with all the links to get to your legislators. So it'd be nice to see an outpouring from Board of Finance members, Board of Selectmen, where you don't have to essentially come up with what you wanna say, it's already there for you with all of the information, you just have to fill in your name and address.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other comments from citizens in the room? Any citizen online have a comment at this time? Okay, seeing, and hearing none, we'll move to item 12. Board of Finance member comments. I have a few, but I'll hold off and open it up to the group first.
I'm good.
Steve?
I want to talk about spelling bee.
Okay. I'll give you a difficult word, Steve. Conundrum. Nikki, do you have any comments?
No, just kind of what I said earlier, like, I gotta go figure it out, but for right now, every Tuesday is just, it's a non-negotiable for me right now.
I had a couple of quick ones. One was a reminder for the next week on the 121 joint meeting with the BOE. That's next week at, on the 21st. The second was, just if anyone doesn't have the full schedule, this was sent out earlier. There's a lot of dates coming up for us as we open up the budget, season. There'll be 4 with the Board of Finance, mostly in the front end of February. And then there'll be a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back in March. There are quite a few in March, but last year we didn't use them all. You know, keep in mind, some of them are there in case we get into some long meetings and we need the extra time. I did notice that there's, on 2/20, I think that should be a regular meeting and a budget workshop meeting. We don't have our February meeting.
Well, I think you do the February and then you move into the budget workshop.
That's what we normally do.
Right.
In March, it says BOF regular meeting / budget workshop. In February, it doesn't say regular
Oh, it
meeting.
should.
So Dottie, if you could change that on 2/20 to look similar to 3/20. And we won't take up a lot of the time, recognizing it's a joint meeting, we'll do it on Briggs agenda. And then the second thing I noticed is that on 4/24, there's the referendum. We need a meeting that evening, and that needs to be scheduled.
Yeah.
If we're gonna set the mill rate. Now, we may cancel the meeting if
Right.
things aren't go too well, but
No,
we at least have to have that scheduled. And maybe it's scheduled and it's not on here, but
It
it's not
was,
on here.
cause I brought it up last week that I won't be at it, so it was definitely on there.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see it on here.
I know, I'm just saying,
Okay.
it was originally.
So that was item 2. And then the only other comment I have, we'll get into it deeper when we open the budget season, but I did talk with Bill a little bit and I was able to chat with Paul today. You know, in the last reval, we normalized the mill rate, meaning we take the grand list through the reval has gone up. And then in a regular year, our baseline is the mill rates be 28.1, and then we work off of that. And whatever basic lift there was in the grand list due to new buildings or additions. This year, like 5 years ago, it gets a little more convoluted and we need to kind of normalize that. So Bill's helping us and Paul to kind of get to what that normalize. There's all kinds of numbers floating out. I want a scientific number that we all anchor on. So after we go through the joint workshops, when we get to ours, we're gonna we'll take a look at that and align on it as our starting point. For the full, you know, for the meetings that we have independent, where we have to make some of the final decisions. Those are my only comments.
If I could, Rob, could you go
Certainly,
back to your last comment about the meeting in which Board of Finance meeting also needed to be a budget workshop? What day was that? I have the calendar open.
No, it's
It's
2/20.
2/20. If you look at 3/20, the way it's worded.
Yeah.
It says BOF regular meeting / budget workshop.
Yep.
2/20 would be a BOF regular meeting / BOF joint budget workshop. And again, we could do it, you
Maybe
know,
to use a smaller font.
10 minutes or so.
That's what we need, smaller font.
Do you want my notes?
I mean, we can modify that agenda to fit
Yeah.
the activity that's happening at
Anytime.
that time. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. Any other comments from anybody?
So that last thing that you talked
Yeah.
about the normalization,
Yeah.
does that mean that we would see the scientific piece behind it, or are you just gonna come out and say this is?
I'm not gonna go out
No.
and say anything. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna present something, but what I don't want is to have 4 different starting points, and people are kind of coming up with their own starting points outside of the meeting. It's our job to work on that, right? And I just want to make sure that before we get to that point, that we understand the mathematics and the science behind how.
No,
this
that's,
originated.
I guess that's what I'm asking. We'll see
Yeah,
that mathematics.
We'll see that. I think
Okay.
Bill can present that to us. And if there's no questions and we agree on it, then that becomes the number, and then we build off of that number.
And I've actually already, in doing some of the budget work today, if you remember back to our, sort of our first page in the budget book.
Yep.
We have this little block at the square at the bottom here, where we have a base mill rate.
Yep.
I've added a line to adjust that for the revaluation. So if you guys like that presentation, it will appear right here.
Mm.
Yeah.
At the moment, that's that 28.11. If you use the numbers we have right now, that drops to 19.16.
Yeah.
And what this analysis does is it breaks it by each of the budget components, the education, general town debt service and capital. But that's subject to all the work we're doing here, but at
Yeah.
least it'll be in an effort for, some transparency, that'll be right on there.
Yeah, and what happens in these years, normally the mill rate would go down with a lift in the grand list like that.
Correct.
But it doesn't, that impacts, if you look at how that impacts homes and you look at how it impacts autos, the automobile side of it kind of gets a bit of a break, if you will, right? It gets a benefit
This
as a
time.
payer because of that lower rate. Well, if you recall, the change that the state's making, the way the cars are evaluated are going down. So
Yeah.
like there's this huge drop. And that's great. Everybody gets a drop in there, but at the end of the day,
It's-
we gotta fund our activity somehow, right? So there's a number of unique moving pieces. And that's kind of where I was
Mhm.
going with it, Nikki. I want to just make sure that we look at it. Bill presents it, we go, yeah, we get the math, and then that's.
No, that's more what I was asking, right? I don't want,
It's not gonna be
I'm
my
not
number.
comfortable, yeah, I'm not comfortable like walking into the room, no offense, Bill, to, it's 20.2
No.
and that's your
No.
base and
No.
not understand
Oh, no.
what
Uh,
happened to get, that's kind of what I
no,
was
no.
asking, like the math
No.
behind it and all that is what
If
I,
you also recall in a typical year where there's not a reval, if the grand list goes up, right, there's an amount times the mill rate that kind of comes in before we actually hit the mill rate. There's some level of funds there, right? And some years that was a kind of a nice number and helped us, and other years it was not so nice number. But that gets kind of blended, if you will, into this hodgepodge of a new grand list. So it's a complicated year, and I'm just trying to.
yeah, no,
actually trying
that's
to-
fine,
No, we're actually gonna compare spending, and that's not the mill rate, that's the
I understand.
spending is really, I think we mostly base our evaluations on rather than the mill rate, I think. So, yeah, at the end of the day, we look at the mill rate, but
Yeah, it's kind of both. We triangulate off that, but yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, it's what we're actually spending and the
Yeah,
why
that's
behind it. Okay,
and the need.
anything else? Super. If there's nothing else, I'd have a motion to
Oh.
adjourn.
I was just gonna
Oh,
say,
sorry.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7:46. Thank you, everyone.
All right.